A pleasure to meet y'all at last. Welcome back once again to HJN Season 4. So, with the rest of the stuff that I have left to cover for Season 4, let's talk about something known as Rarity for number 2635. So in that sense, what we have here is something that, of course, does correlate to people whom are brave or intrepid enough to explore. Rarity, of course, explains how common, uncommon, or of course rare, or even legendary, a certain material happens to be. For example, there's certain pieces of the periodic table of elements in which that some elements, like astatine, happen to be incredibly expensive, and thereby some of the most valuable things, due to their own sense of rarity. Astatine, as we probably know, while it was discovered long ago, it has since become, let's say, through how the likes of gold and silver had dwindled down to a point where they've become so rare that entire buildings are put together just to keep these prized possessions safe. You're familiar with Fort Knox? They keep probably the largest supply of gold in the United States. But as for astatine, it's hard to really put together exactly how one could contain such an element that's so rare. So pricey nonetheless. But other than the elements, there's plenty of other reasons why rarity would make sense. Look at how many cars exist. There's only so many Bugattis in the world that have existed to this very day. The Veyron especially, while there were a lot of them built, there aren't that many still around today. And they could be millions of dollars for all we know, just to own. Or insure, if you're lucky. But then of course there's also how rare and expensive some technologies are. This iPhone, for instance, is relatively new, but it's certainly nowhere near the upcoming iPhone 17. Mostly because Verizon was able to give me a 14 Max. Free of charge, of course. But as we probably know by now, the original iPhone 1 from all the way back in 2007 likely is something that not many people will find worth collecting, especially given the fact that it has that unique two-tone back paint scheme, a somewhat classical looking Apple logo, not like the colorful one from way back in the day in the 70s, but it also had the unique 30-tooth plug input, which, as we know, was also common in the case with most iPods, at least up until 2015, when they started using the common lightning plug as of today. But then there's other things we could talk about regarding rarity, but the whole point of me bringing up rarity in HJN was to give you a good in-depth look and perspective from my own statements as to how rarity in fact impacts the world from many people within. The real question, though, is, are you really willing to go so far to obtain some legendary treasure? Something that could possibly be worth a fortune and therefore make you quite wealthy. In my own case, I will say, having had some rarities of my own, putting a good amount of money into these sort of things, it's not meant for everybody. Because there's only so much that I could potentially do to keep them safe until potential financial issues come around. You might have to sell that stuff to a museum. Who really knows? Until that future truly holds, we'll just simply say that a lot of my own keepsakes will be kept in good value, in good condition, and most importantly, in good hands. So let that be known right off the bat. Anyways, though, this is basically all I have to say about rarity. But this certainly won't be the end regarding HJN topics. I will have plenty more to discuss going forward. So, with plenty of other material left to cover, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow me wherever you can find me, and stay on the Hollywood side for more.